moment today, you mentioned that we were talking, you said, I don't know where they are, and then you said something along the lines of, whatever happened to them just acted pure evil. What did that mean?
Is this evil that I saw when I walked behind Shanann and she was on top of Susie? And I felt evil spread into Shanann.
Okay, now the other one.
I'm Neeks, with the peaks beyond the narrative of the doll picture. Shanann posted it. Stay with me. Did anyone notice that little Chrissy got a bad haircut? I guess she was Shanann's mom's childhood doll, which probably means she was Shanann's childhood doll as well. Interesting that she was getting bad haircuts. Maybe just a bad day at the hair salon. Was her name always Chrissy? It seems interesting that she's got the choker hold and the corner going on for her. A bad haircut and a humiliating post. A possible pseudonym? The intrigue thickens. The intrigue thickens. How much more cold and callous does this mom have to be before we're not considered crazy for considering the first confession? Even if you don't believe the first confession, you must understand that there's a big implication for the lies being told about the doll picture. Avi, the doll picture is not forensic evidence, but it is a material fact. For me, personally, a few letters in my word jumble, and a few letters can get you from that FML point to the finish line in a word jumble. Even someone in the comment section, when she wrote the connotation of death, which you would think is totally out of left field, completely out of pocket for someone who is posting on Facebook constantly that their kids like covering their face up. It should have just been another day for a Watts girl covering up their baby just like I sleep. But why though? There's a reason why this girl said, I feel like he wrote this. Close-minded. But she's made a rather astute observation, and that is that this post seems like it came from whom? From the killer. And that, my friends, is why they wanted no publicity about it that wasn't in connection with the morbidity and presumptions that the public had precluded about Chris Watts from the start. As long as it was associated with him, it could get as much press as it liked. It was better even. The funny thing is, they can't even make up the right date. The date marked in the discovery about the alleged and completely made up message that is not actually in the phone data, but in the narrative for the phone data. The phone data actually has the numerical order of Shanann's photos. We never see one that matches Chris's. The reply that they allege she responded back to Chris is actually her post on Facebook. And they completely ignore the fact that she's posted it on Facebook. They completely ignore that and put it as a message and run with it. And the public to this day, for the most part, still runs with it and still talks about this photo. I've, of course, not just come to talk about things that other creators have already discussed with the doll photo, but I have found a new discovery. And as I was going through some of the cleaning posts that I had from Shanann, I found those photos that you saw with all the baby dolls and the legs in the air. Shanann posted 2 of them, comes back later, and is like, oops, forgot to show you guys another photo since no one mentioned the weird doll with its legs up in the air in the 1 second photo she posted. She posted a 3rd photo, and the 3rd photo has 2 dolls with its legs up in the air and a emoji pillow that has the crying face, because it's like another little hidden message from Shanann, because the profile of this type of person likes getting away with these little strange subliminals. And the doll, my friends, is a subliminal. What do you think about it? How would this stand up? How would the litany of all of these photos stand up? And I think that it wouldn't have needed aid. It had its own legs. This wasn't going to be a fin floating on the water with no teeth. It had a bite. It had chomps. And it was going to take a bite out of a few crimes. You feel me? Many people agree with Ronnie. No kid would put a doll in this position. No kid would cover up the head. He says, I've seen Bella cover up dolls. She does it normal. People on the net, of course, have pointed out that there's a picture that Shanann took and posted on Facebook where Bella actually has the head of her doll covered up. I do think that we have to wonder if she actually instructed Bella to do this or not, because obviously there's a staged photo of all of the dolls lined up. She's got quite a curious face here. I wonder, was she not set up like that? Because in a video where Bella happens to be walking by, she's holding her baby, and she has it wrapped up totally normal. I believe this to be a more organic moment with Bella and her baby doll, rather than this obviously staged photo. Your guess is as good as mine. There are a bunch of other appearances of the doll and daddies and pop-ups in a totally normal way. So we do have quite a large amount of evidence that Ronnie was correct and Bella did indeed cover her dolls up normally. Even if she didn't, I find it odd that Shanann made this to be an odd thing, considering all of the pics that we know Shanann posted online and then laughed at and then updated. It wasn't just one kid as a baby that liked to do this, but both girls, she said. They sleep just like their mom. She didn't just say this solo dolo. She mentioned it a bunch. Did I mention she mentioned it a lot? Because, she mentioned it a lot. Hey, you, she mentioned it a lot. What? Me? Shut up. Cool. All right. So she mentioned it a lot, though. So 2 and 2 makes 4. It's absolutely maddening to me that they say that we shouldn't think this of Shanann. We shouldn't even ask ourselves. We shouldn't even ask ourselves if she would have killed her children. There's no way So they totally think it of Chris, who's never shown these sadistic sides of himself to the public, but she has, and we're supposed to think that he's totally capable, but she is not. They are accomplices. They are co-defendants. That's a part of why he is still keeping his mouth closed. I also believe that she had Chris Watts' mouth sealed tight via evidentiary means, and I think probably those means are still around, i.e. in her phone. And believe it or not, you guys, there are worse things to be known for than what Chris Watts is in jail for now. Bottom of the totem pole as he may be, there is worse. And I think that a lot of evidence that was going to back those things up that keep him quiet, we've seen many of these tidbits, and I've seen more than I would like. Exposing things in her home, including her children, to the public that she never should have. I think you know what I mean, and if you don't, bless your heart, stay innocent. How many hours does Shanann have to be okay while listening to her daughters cry? How many videos do we have to see of her having zero empathy for them, stirring in their rooms, unable to sleep in their little crib or cage, or crawling from their bed and attempting to read a book in the dark? She laughed. She laughed when they replicated what she connotated as death onto their baby dolls. She laughed when they replicated her abuse toward them onto their baby dolls. She laughed. This mom laughed. She was a cold and callous mother. If you haven't went back and forth on who killed the kids a couple of times, I tell you, you haven't really been studying this case unless you've went back and forth quite a few times on who killed these kids. You know why? Because there is no evidentiary proof. Chris claims he killed his little girl with her Yankee blanket that was inside of the home and inside of his bedroom during the well check. And we're going to be going over the first confession with a fine-tooth comb here in the near future. Let's see what it adds or takes away from our overall thesis in this case. It's going to be interesting. The pillows that were actually bought with the fundraiser that Chris's employees organized at work, it's been conveyed to them that Chris Watts and Shanann Watts have very sick children, and neither of them are very healthy, and they fundraised to get the girls a special type of pillow, and one of them describes it as an animal character that folds out and folds back up into a pillow or something, and you can kind of see that there's two of them in one of these. The Watts case gets a little bit stranger, a little bit more danger. And how much evidence can you ignore? That's the main question on Watts' murder tour.